That's like our thing. We go and see Pixar movies. Cause I want to say we saw Toy Story, we saw Toy Story 2, we saw Monsters Inc. I don't think we saw Bug's Life. I think Bug's Life is the one we missed. We didn't see, cause I didn't see Bug's Life until I saw it at home. That's when I saw Bug's Life. I didn't see it until I got home, until I was at home. But like we saw Toy Story 2, we saw Monsters Inc. We saw God dang it, what was the other one I said? Finding Nemo. And we saw Finding Nemo. And then I think it stopped like that because I just grew up and I got too old for these type of movies. I got too old for this type. I saw Incredibles at the movie theater on I think Christmas Day or something like that. Not Christmas Day. No, I didn't see that movie on Christmas Day, but I did see Incredibles in the theater. That's like my favorite Pixar movie. I love The Incredibles. The first Incredibles movie, that's my favorite. I saw that one. I think I saw that one by myself. But yeah, like that was kind of like that was me and my grandmother's thing. We like go and see Pixar movies until like I grew out of it, And I think she understood too. She was like, because like when I got because Finding Nemo was when I was like graduating high school. Finding Nemo came out when I was like graduating high school. So that was like the last Pixar movie me and my grandma saw was Finding Nemo together, and then like I grew up and went away, pretty much, and that was kind of it. But yeah, man. So like she was a huge Pixar fan. I still don't know if she saw The Incredibles. I will never know because she's no longer with us. So yeah, I don't know if she saw that one. Sadly, like I said, I'll never know. But yeah, but I do remember not being all that interested in seeing this movie. I do remember that. I used to see the commercials on TV, and they really didn't grab me. I was like, oh yeah, that's that weird movie. That's not like, cause the animation was strange to me. So I was like, this ain't a cartoon. Why it look real? That was my thing. Cause I was like only 9. I was like 9 years old when this movie came out, and I was looking at it and I was like, why it look real? I ain't never saw no stuff like that. Cause I grew up on like claymation. I've seen claymation. You had Gumby. You had the California Raisins and what's the other one? Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill. I'm dating myself. Like I'm showing my age. But and Mr. Bill's even older than me. But and all that stuff. He used to do that. But I grew up on that shit. I've seen claymation before. Stop motion. All the Ray Harryhausen stuff, like he did like Clash of the Titans. And what's the other one? He did another one. God dang it, I forgot the name of it. But Clash of the Titans is the one. He did Jason and the Argonauts, I think. He did Jason and the Argonauts. He did King Kong. All that stuff. I grew up on all that stuff. But this right here, this looked weird to me. This looked foreign to me. I was like, what the fuck is this? And so it didn't really grab my attention until I ended up seeing the movie, and now like Toy Story is like one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's up there with like Lethal Weapon for me. As just like this. I'm gonna get through all the Lethal Weapons soon. Don't worry about that. I might change my mind on that as I watch all the Lethal Weapons. But like Toy Story, the Toy Story franchise is up there with all the Lethal Weapon franchise to me. It was like, it's just perfect, And also they had like movies that I think they didn't need, because like Toy Story had Toy Story 4, Lethal Weapon had Lethal Weapon 4, and both those movies I think they didn't need, but both those movies actually worked out to be good, so, which was strange, because, like, both those movies I didn't want. Because I was like, Lethal Weapon, because I remember growing up, I was like, Lethal Weapon's a perfect trilogy. Don't fuck it up. And I did the same thing with Toy Story. Because I was like, Toy Story is a perfect trilogy. Don't fuck it up. And both of them did a fourth movie, and both fourth movies are really good. I mean, they're not as good as the rest of them in the trilogy, but they're not bad. They're not things that you're like, man, this fucking sucks. See, I told you they shouldn't have did a fourth movie. But both of them worked out. I like both movies. But yeah, it's like one of my favorite franchises. Like, out of all franchises, I think those are my two favorite franchises. When it comes to a quadrilogy, they both stuck the landing, man. Toy Story and Lethal Weapon. two of the most opposite movies. Two of the most opposite movies, but two of my favorites. But let's get into the movie. I like how the movie starts off with Andy playing with his toys and like using his imagination, because it really took me back. It so reminds me of how I used to play with my toys as a kid. Cause like I was a big action figure kid growing up. Like I had all the action figures, and like my dad actually worked at a toy store, and he used to get like all the cool action figures like half off, and like I would have like action figures that like of toy lines that like nobody really fucking played with. Like I had like Toxic Crusaders, like I had like, if anybody is old enough to remember this, you remember like Bucky O'Hare. Like Bucky O'Hare. I had Bucky O'Hare action figures. I had Ronin Warrior action figures. If you remember Ronin Warriors. Had Biker Mice from Mars action figures. I had Stone Protectors. Remember the Stone Protectors? Remember they were trying to do the trolls, but they made them like buff ass trolls. They were like trolls on steroids, and they had weapons and shit. They were like buff ass superhero trolls. I had Stone Protectors. Like I had that shit. And like X-Men toys. I had like everything other than like the most popular, because like the most popular toy line at the time was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was the most popular toy line. Might be the most popular toy line of all fucking time. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But cause they sold so many Ninja Turtle toys. So many Ninja Turtle toys. It might be the most popular toy line of all fucking time. Before and since, cause you can make a run for He-Man, you can make a run for Transformers, those two might be a little bit under Thundercats too. You can make a run for Thundercats, but cause like those three things, G.I. Joe, I forgot about G.I. Joe, cause like all those things stood the test of time. Like, nobody's talking about tiger sharks, okay? Nobody's talking about tiger sharks. Nobody's talking about, like, Bionic 6. Nobody's talking about Mask. Nobody's talking... What's the other one with the cops? Cops. You remember Cops? Nobody's talking about Cops. Nobody's talking about, like, Silverhawks and shit like that. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Probably the most iconic toy line, but like I had all the other stuff that nobody wanted to fucking play with too, so like I had those action figures too because my dad worked at a toy store. So let's talk about this. Can I talk about how this movie came out in 1995 and the animation like still looks decent, because this is the very first CGI animated movie in theaters. Like this movie practically changed the animation industry. It changed it. I also like how this movie like changed the industry, but also kept up with the times. Because that's important. That's an important thing, because we get a lot of things that change the industry, but they also get left on the wayside by the wayside. Not Toy Story. This franchise just got better and better with each installment. You know, each installment just raised the stakes. It's better and better and better. You know, so it's like, I'm glad that they continued to keep up with the times. Two things I like about the character establishment in this movie. First off, I like that Andy is not just some faceless kid. You know, he has a personality and he has presence, because they could have done they could have had Muppet Baby syndrome. Remember Muppet Babies? I'm really dating myself, aren't I? Remember Muppet Babies when because like the Muppet Babies had a nanny who they called Nanny, you know, like, and all you saw was her feet. Because this could have been a Muppet Babies. This could have been a Charlie Brown thing where like you don't see adults and all you hear is womp 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 womp. You know, it could have been that, but they didn't do that with him. You saw his face. He has a personality. You know what his kid is. You know what his family is. You know he has a single mother. You know he has a sister. You know, and like nobody in this movie is like faceless, because all the humans could have been faceless. All the humans could have been faceless. They could have just been bodies, like headless bodies just walking around. We don't know what the fuck they are. But they gave these characters personality, and I love that. The human characters, they gave them personality. Secondly, I like that they didn't go the typical Disney route with this movie. Because like in any other Disney movie, they would have just had some magic dust sprinkle on the toys, and the toys come to life and some magic shit, you know, like any other Disney movie. But I like that these toys are sentient beings that have their own world. You know, I like that. They have their own world. They have their own problems. They have their own lives as sentient toys, you know? I like that. Woody is the lead toy, played by Tom Hanks. Woody is very much the HNIC of the toys. And for my Caucasian listeners, HNIC means head nigger in charge. So I can say it, I'm black. So don't come at me. But yeah, mainly he's that because like he's Andy's favorite toy. Andy loves Woody. He loves playing with Woody all the time. He's like the favorite of all of his toys. But it's also Andy's birthday as we go along in this movie, and the toys are afraid of being replaced. They're afraid of being not played with. And Andy does get a new toy named Buzz Lightyear, played by Tim Allen. But the thing about Buzz is Buzz thinks he's a real person and not a toy, which I still don't know if Buzz Lightyear is based off of somebody real in that universe. You know, because we got Lightyear coming out. We got Lightyear coming out this weekend as I'm recording this. So like hopefully the new movie Lightyear like will clear up all this confusion about whether Buzz Lightyear is a real person or if he is like fiction. Because I remember back in the day, back in like the late 90s, I think it was like 97, 98, maybe even 99. This is kind of like when I stopped watching fucking cartoons. I wasn't really watching cartoons. I was like growing out of cartoons because I was growing up, because like in 98 I was like becoming a teenager. So like I was really growing out of cartoons. But I vaguely remember there was a cartoon about Buzz Lightyear, like what Buzz Lightyear was doing when he wasn't a toy. Like I think it's called Buzz Lightyear and Space Command or some shit like that. It was like a blip. It was like a blink and you miss it. I think the show only lasted like one season. Maybe that's the only season I saw, because like I said, at the time, growing out of cartoons. So So I remember that show, and I was kind of like, and looking at this new movie